Hello, my name is Aayush and today I'm going to talk about data communication and computer networks. More specifically, I'm going to talk about the objectives of DCCN as well as how it helps in building a reliable and trustworthy system of communication in organizations. First of all, let's talk about the objectives of DCCN. So the main objective of data communication and networking is to enable seamless exchange of data between any two points in the world. This exchange of data takes place over a computer network. Data communication refers to the exchange of data between a source and a receiver via form of transmission media such as a wire cable. Data communication aims at the transfer of data and maintenance of the data during the process, but not the actual generation of information at the source and the receiver. Computer network applications are network software applications that utilize the internet or other network capabilities or infrastructure to perform useful functions, for example, file transfers within a network. They help us to transfer data from one point to another within the network. Now, there are many layers when we are considering DCCM. The first is physical layer. Physical layer is the lowest layer of the OSI reference model. It is responsible for sending bits from one computer to another. The layer is not concerned with the meaning of the bits and deals with the setup of physical connection of network and with transmission and reception of signals. Located at the lowest layer of the Open Systems Connection, more commonly known as OSI, the physical layer's function is to transport data using electrical, mechanical, or procedural interfaces. Then comes the data link layer. The data link layer is the second layer in the OSI model. The three main functions of the data link layer are to deal with transmission errors, regulate the flow of data, and provide a well-defined interface of the network layer. The data link layer has different services and protocols to complete its tasks. Data link layer provides layer 2 hardware addressing mechanism. Hardware address is assumed to be unique on the link. It is encoded into hardware at the time of manufacturing. When data frames are sent on the link, both machines must be synchronized in order to take or transfer place. Network layer. The network layer is to allow end systems connected to different networks to exchange information through intermediate systems called routers. The unit of information is the network layer is called a packet. The primary function of the network layer is to permit different networks to be interconnected. It does this by forwarding packets to network routers, which rely on algorithms to determine the best paths for the data to travel. These paths are known as virtual circuits. Then comes the application layer. The application layer provides full user access to a variety of shared networks and services for efficient OSI model data flow. This layer has many responsibilities, including error handling and recovery, data flow over a network, and full network flow. It is also used to develop network-based applications. An application protocol is layered on top of a transport protocol. The application protocol provides the bytes, the carry, the messages, and the responses for various processes. And the transport protocol helps reliably transport the bytes and make sure that they arrive in order. Right from the day of computer automation, a computer has developed computer in each department. For example, the task can be to keep track of inventories, monitoring productivity, and maintain accounts. Initially, this computer is different departments works as an isolation from other computers. These provided the necessary computer assistance in the activities pertaining to the respective department. It was not possible to share information among the departments. As a result, the information was replicated and whenever needed, it was sent to the other department. This increased redundancy caused increase in storage space and the consistency of the data was hampered. Hence, at a point it was decided to connect the computers in various departments to extract the information and correlate information about the entire company. The following are the objectives of the computer networks. Number one is resource sharing is the main objective of the computer network. The goal is to provide all the program, date, and hardware available to everyone on the network without regard to the physical location or the resources that are available to the user. The second objective is to provide the high reliability. It is achieved by replicating the files on two or more machines. So in case of unavailability, due to various reasons such as hardware failure or software failure, the other copies can be used. Computer organizations, which talk about the third point, has helped organization to save money. This is due to the fact that the small computer has much better price to the performance ratio comparison than the large computer like mainframe. Mainframe computers are approximately 10 times faster, but they're also about a 1000 times more expensive than a microcomputer. As a result of this imbalance, organizations have preferred to install interconnected microcomputers that are then connected to the mainframe computers. The fourth point is computer network have provided means to increase system performance as the workload increases. This is called load balancing. In the days of mainframe, when the system was full, it was to replace with the other large mainframe computer, usually at an expensive rate and not convenient for the users. Can you imagine that you have to pay thousands of dollars just to keep on storing new data? Nowadays, we can use hardware such as the hard disks or even the more prominent and now much more used cloud storage. Computer networks also help people who live or work apart to report together. So when one user prepared some documentation, he can make the document online and enabling other to read and convey their opinions. Thus, computer network is a powerful communication medium. This is especially true in this day and age. Since the last year, we have been in a pandemic, and because of that, working together in office spaces has become impossible. We have to maintain our distances and take care of ourselves physically and mentally. So, in order to do that, in the past, it would not have been possible. Such was the case in the Spanish flu, which, when happened, caused a huge dip in the economic output of industries because people weren't able to talk to each other, communicate, and the teamwork had fell apart. But nowadays, we use softwares like Microsoft Teams, Google Meet, Zoom, etc. to work on a video call together, share our ideas, display our presentations, etc. And this allows the teamwork to continue even when there is no physical connection. This is why communication is very important, especially digital communication. Now comes the sixth point, which is the last point as well. Only authorized users can access resources in a computer network. Users are authenticated by their username and password, hence it is not possible to access the data with a proper account. This increases security. This reminds me of one incident that is very famous, that is the Watergate scandal, which happened in the year 1972, and it took place in the United States of America. Basically, what happened was that the second in command in FBI got hold of data, especially files which were top secret and stored in White House, which showed that the then president Ronald Reagan and Richard Nixon, vice president and president, would use nefarious activities and processes such as rigging the election and using extremist groups to take out activities and convey attacks. This was a major scandal which was released when that person uh, released the documents to the public. Now, as the documents were in physical form, there was not much security, even though they were in the White House, which is one of the most secure places in the world. That was because there is always someone who has access to places. It's all about the information that you can store digitally, which have happened to increase the security exponentially. Think about it this way. In a positive mainframe, when you have a birth certificate, driver's license, Aadhaar card, PAN card, these kind of personal identification documents, when physically stored, which means in the form of cards, can be easily stolen, can be used, can be exploited, and they aren't very safe because you can lose them as well. It's not always about the criminal activities. It's all about is also about how you yourself could not be careful and lose these documents, which are very important. So here comes the digital communication era, which basically allows you to save these documents in password encrypted documents, which can only be opened by you. You can have the key. It can also be hashed. There are many ways you can protect these data, and it also makes them easier to access, very difficult to lose, and that is why digital communication and computer networks are very important in this field. Now, for reliable communication, data is delivered reliably through a combination of sequence numbers and acknowledgement messages. You may know them as ACK and NAK. Upon detecting an error or loss of packet, the source can recover by retransmitting the packet without involvement from the user, which means just in case there is some issue, error, or data loss, the user does not need to take care of that. The program itself takes care of it by sending it again. The mode guarantees the delivery of a message packet exactly once, not more than that, and definitely not less than that, when applications need to rely on the underlying transport to guarantee delivery of messages to its destination. This mode is used. This mode frees up an application to a safeguard against the unreliability of the underlying media or delivery mechanisms. Technologies like TCP etc. have been proven to be highly reliable and safe. The current trend in the data communication industries has started focusing on privacy as well as proficiency. This is how data communication and computer networks conceptions will be helpful for accomplishing a trustworthy data communication in a real-time industry which is also reliable. Thank you.